Happy Friday. How are you doing, Austin? It's the first week of January 2022. How's
doing good?
Been? The first week
Can't
back.
complain. It was nice to get back into the swing of things. We've been working on a few little projects and stuff throughout the week, so it's been good to get back into the mood of working and going and off the holidays. And it's been a great week. How about you?
It's definitely different. The city's weird because it's so much snow here. It's shocking. It's beautiful, and to be honest, I'll take the snow over the crazy wet we get all the time. But it is a bit odd, and because when you get this amount of snow, people don't have snow tires, and the streets aren't great, so it's very quiet. So it's been a weird start, but hey, we're looking forward to 2022, and this show is just a mini review of 2021. So we're going to go through a video I did last year, kind of talking about my top 6 moving forward. And that didn't include every company that we had, because we had IPOs coming out and ones that we were involved in that were coming in 6 months later. But we're just going to kind of go through those quickly. And what we're going to do, just because this could be a long video, is just go through them and just kind of show a chart, basic year to year. It's not like we're not trying to make it like perfect, like, hey, exactly this, because we wouldn't want to do that anyway. We're just giving a bit of a guesstimate as to how those stocks had done that we had talked about, that we liked. There's some great winners, obviously. There's a couple losers, so we're going to talk about them all. Anyways, anything you want to mention before we just jump into that?
No, I think let's just jump into the review. We'll run through it, and then I might add a couple extra ones at the end if we don't touch on them as well. So
perfect. Well, let's get number 1 right up. And of course, we'll lead the charge here with Desert Mountain Energy, and we'll take a look at that chart. So this obviously has been, one of my favorites because I've been in it for a couple of years, and it's been great for me. But if this is a weird chart, obviously, because we can see it did outstanding, and then it pulled back large. Now for the year, it's still up, as you can see, with 43% for the year, which, for what we're trying to do here, would be that's not terribly exciting, Andrew, for the year. That's not amazing compared to other ones. But it's a great example of what can happen in between there. I haven't sold any of my position on this as well, but there would have been some people, like you mentioned, Austin. That some of them could have sold at $4 and been like, listen, if that's enough of a win for me. I know some people had.
Yeah, it's not a bad position to have for people who did take money off the table at that point. And that's why you can understand why there might have been a bit of a drop off, because you'll have people who have been in this thing since it was down under $1, right? And it finally gets up to that $4.50 range, and they're just saying, you know what, this has been great. I'm going to take some money off the table at this point in time. And I mean, with an understanding as well that there may have been a lull, and then things will ramp up again in 2022 anyways. So it's a good position to be in, regardless of whether you took some off the table or you're waiting until it gets its next pop.
Yeah, so it's a one we could do a whole show on, really, to be perfectly honest, because 42% for the year, that's pretty good. I mean, I can't complain about it, but it's not what we were expecting, not what I really wanted to be talking about. But like I said, the end result or conclusion, if you want to make any quickly, is I didn't sell throughout any of that. I still have my position, and I still love Desert Mountain Energy. So let's just move on. Next one we're going to talk about is GasX, or NG Energy. So once again, that one for the year, 85%, pretty good return. And this one's an interesting one because, once again, not exactly what I was expecting. We can blame COVID, which is a very easy thing to do, and rightfully so, because that did cause a massive shortage of work and supply chain issues. All of the problems that we're facing, are a result of government decisions and mandates in regards to COVID. And that really pulled back timelines on everyone, including Desert Mountain Energy, including NG Energy. But still, 84%, pretty good. Once again, if anyone is curious, I'm adding, not subtracting from that one as well. So great story. It's hasn't even started, as far as I believe. It's journey. It's just getting started. So we'll leave that at that, and we'll move on to Algernon Pharmaceuticals. Now, this one, Yeah, this this one blew up. So this is in the wrong way, blew up in the wrong way. This, and I almost barely remember this one because we were so into it when COVID had hit, and it was talking about treatment. And now when you look at this, if you even talk about treatment of COVID, you'll be thrown off a platform. No one had, they do not want you talking about treatment or dealing with sickness. It has to be, you have to have a vaccine or quote unquote a therapy. Is not a vaccine. You're not immunized from anything, but you have to take the shot. There's no discussion as to treatment. So wrong side of the narrative for sure. But also their results weren't that great. So we took a swing with this one, and you know, we exited pretty early, like when we saw that they started getting negative news. But that was one that we liked because it had potential, because it was talking about treatment. Not it was going to be, I thought, an addition to a vaccine that they would come out with, because really you can't talk about one without the other. You need to be able to like treat things as well. That's what doctors usually do. They treat issues. But that's a whole other side thing. But we want to mention some of the ones that didn't do so well, and that's one. Now this one's done 80%, negative 80%. We certainly didn't take that kind of hit. We were out fairly early. But it was
I was just going to say, I think I exited sometime around late March to early April when it was somewhere in the $20 to $22 range, something around there, when you could kind of see the writing on the wall. And I think I've mentioned this before, but it's important to note the treatment aspect of things. And we talk about why treatments don't fall within the narrative. A big reason for that is because of emergency use authorization.
Yes, they had to get that legally. Yeah.
You have to legally have that to get the vaccines rolled out the way that they did.
Yeah.
So it kind of
technically took it off. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, you couldn't have any valid treatments out there, or it kind of hurt that. And obviously, we were looking at March, April last year. There was no way they were going to let a valid treatment come to market at that point in time. So
no, and then we won't even mention the. I won't even say the name of it. What's the media likes to call the horse dewormer drug,
farm animal stuff.
The one that's won a Nobel Prize that they keep on trying to tell people. Let me just put it this way: the one that Pfizer's made, basically an identical drug that they're going to be putting out for a treatment soon, and you'll be paying 400% more for. Anyways, don't get me started on the pharmaceutical industry. But that one also, I remember now, they had also pivoted when they had the results that were lackluster. Into the psychedelic space, and then it was kind of like, okay, you've changed your model. And anyways, it just shows what can happen. Goliath. So Goliath, another interesting one. This one, has been good, even if you just held it to today. 39% for the year. Not a barn burner, but good considering a lot of the metals and mining sector didn't do well. Like, we've done very well in it, the ones that we tend to talk about, but most of them didn't do that great, and they're just not getting any attention. And that's why, I'm so passionate about getting the news out there to people. All the answers come from mining. If you want any of this green stuff, it's delusional thinking that it's going to come from anywhere else. It isn't coming from anywhere else. If you're not going to use fossil fuels, then there's only one other place you can go. And we hammer it home. But people, it's until you basically have the mainstream narrative pivot, which they'll have to eventually, to promote mining, which will be bizarre to see. But if they get behind that, there's no problem. You can convince the people of anything. You put a couple of commercials, maybe make a video, get a couple of rap stars and sports athletes to talk about positive mining, and this place goes through the roof. That's the magical recipe right there. But anyways, Goliath, we can talk about it a lot. It's gone up. And I do know lots of people that exited like at $1.40, $1.50, because it was like, listen, there's no results out. This thing's had an amazing run, and when you see that run up and down, that's over no news. So this weirdness can happen in when these mining stocks, and then this whole lackluster kind of thing is we're just waiting for results. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And so many companies have been caught in that kind of just, we're waiting. These assay labs are backed up. When are we going to actually get these results? Timetables being pushed back and changed constantly. So it's been a frustrating year for a lot of mining companies and a lot of mining investors. But I don't think that should discourage anyone from the model that's in place, and the writing very clearly on the wall moving into 2022 is that this stuff there's a critical need for it, we're gonna have to find these solutions. So I think the model and the strategy is still very much intact with a lot of these companies.
Sure. And I mean, this one, as a quick reminder with Goliath, it's gold, but still gold, I think is going to do very well this year. Their thesis alone is very strong. And I mean, it literally could be any week now that the results come in. It's late. Believe me, it's late. We know it's late, but it could be any time. So if someone's sitting in the stock right now, or they're looking to get some to go, what can I buy before news? This would be the one, because we have no idea what the results are, but it can't be that much longer to wait. So it's been sitting around in this space of people are pretty optimistic. I mean, it's a 45 million market cap. It had its run up and pull back, but still there's a lot of faith in this model that they have. And if they get some good results, and I don't even mean earth shattering, if they get like pretty good, they're going to be set up for the year ahead. We'll get into all that. I think we're going to have Roger on whenever they do have results. So we're looking forward to that one. Anyways, let's move on.
And if I'll just say for anyone, if they want to go listen to the last time that you and Roger spoke as well, he's one of those guys that you could really tell what he knows what he's talking about. He understands the project that they have in place, and he's extremely confident in it.
Yeah, he feels good. And I mean, that's Crescat Capital. They're on the board, Quinton Henning. That if you watch any videos when he speaks about Goliath, I always look at people's like facial expressions to kind of read. It's tough on Zoom calls. I'm much better in person at it, but he lights up. Like you can see that he's not fibbing. He's not acting. He gets a bit excited about this project. And once again, that's not a guarantee of anything. I mean, geos get excited about all sorts of rocks, but it does make a difference when you see someone you talk about a project and then you can see they get, oh yes, they legitimately, with expression and voice tone changes, where you could tell they honestly are excited about this one. And that's certainly the case with Goliath.
Yeah.
Next was Silverhammer, which we were lucky to be involved in the IPO or funding round of that one. So, this one has been quite a winner for the year, 156%.
Yeah.
We haven't sold any shares. We love it. It's great. And they've hit so many milestones in a very quick, short order, adding people to the board, adding properties. I've got a video out. I just spoke with them the other day. We're going to have news out, not news, but just like a recap of what they accomplished last year. So a bit more detail. So we don't have to go into it now. But it ran up to almost $1. Yeah, it hit $1 at one point, which is a huge win for anyone. And they listed at 25 cents. So for a lot of people, you could see, it runs up like that. Yeah, take some money off the table. But we like what they're up to, and they'll have lots of news and lots of drilling going on this year. Anyways, great one right there.
Yeah, and going to remain one of our top ones going into 2022 as well. Important to note that for people as well.
Yes. Not to give anything away, but really it's going to be. So let's just jump into GMG. So GMG, what a year. Incredible. We were fortunate enough as well to be involved in the IPO on that one. That's part of the charm of being in ahead of the curve with us. And that's what we're trying to harness and build with people is not only are you subscribing to the website to keep up to date with what's happening, what's going on, is we're trying to cultivate people that want to get in early into these stocks and those that are accredited investors that want this type of risk. They're interested. We can introduce you to the people that fund these things. We're happy to do it. And that's why we want to kind of share with these ones that we get to hear about. And that's GMG. What a story. We can go into quite a bit of detail about it, but great chart. And this is also quite a short period of time that they've had this kind of run up, 420% essentially. So
yeah,
quite a year. Don't really need to go over that for too much more. And we'll go to Copper Bank, which is the next one, which we talked about quite a bit. Lots of ups and downs. Like it did really well right off the start whenever we came in there. And then it started petering out because people are like, okay, what next? And it was kind of like not a lot of news and kind of like, okay, what's going on? And then it was ramp up again because they brought on both, a CEO and VP exploration, incredible technical experience. And that really lifted the stock because really, I mean, Johnny is a visionary. He understands this copper market and the whole electrical future story. He's absolutely gifted at that. He's got the whole vision mapped out. But it's very different running a publicly traded company. I mean, it's not, it's not a lot of fun. There's a lot of regulations, permitting, this and that, and they attracted some incredible talent, especially for like a $72 million company, for like essentially a penny stock. They got some incredible talent to be involved that have huge experience, and it had a lift again. And they're very well. We're going to find out sooner or later what 22 is going to look like as far as the roadmap. But it's a great, quite a story.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting one for sure. I'm going to quickly mention as well to throw in there Globex Data, who their product Secure, who we've talked about a lot throughout the year. They had a really good year. Looking at the year in total in review from this time last year, they're up 140% on the year. It's still really in its early stages, and I think has a lot of potential in 2022 to go through. I mean, obviously, we've worked with them and done some videos and stuff with Alan in the past. Fantastic guy, fantastic company, really great product, but really like an exciting opportunity for them to really see some growth in 2022 when revenue numbers for their subscriptions really actually start to pour in. And we can start to see how many users they're actually signing up, what kind of traffic they are generating, and how popular their platform is going to become.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that one, because I'm a big fan of Globex, and this chart looks amazing too. To be perfectly honest, I mean, it had a big fun run up there, and then pulled back, but you see from then on in, it's been constantly in the right direction, growing. And if you extrapolate that, say for another year, wow, that would be outstanding. He's done a lot of hard work. He's a smart guy. This product is really great. The landscape hasn't changed, that people aren't interested in protecting their data. It's getting more and more so. Censorship is up. I mean, constantly people are being removed from Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. If you go against the narrative, you're immediately, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you've created the mRNA platform. You will be removed if you question the narrative. So this is constant, this censorship that you're seeing. And I know that people, if they want to be political, they'll say, oh, it's this crazy person who spouts conspiracy theories. You go, no. They can be removed, but they're never worried about someone who's just no background, who has no technical expertise, who's just randomly talking about strange stuff. That's never a threat, because like, who is this person? They're nuts. But they actively have removed PhDs, professors at universities, you name it, if they question any of the narrative that they want to push. And that also then is enough that makes people question what is going on. Now, most people don't even know that that's happening. Like, I talk to people here and I say, what, you've never heard about like the censorship on all these platforms? And they say, no, I've never heard about it. But that's a whole other show. But I wanted to leave, because we can talk about all these companies, the situation, and believe me, this year we're going to. But we want to give a bit of a snapshot of all these companies that we liked, that have done well. And believe me, we covered hundreds of companies, and it doesn't mean because we've talked to them or had them on the show that we're buying it or we're into it or anything. And some we like for different reasons, but we're just like to get out interesting, compelling stories to people. Whether we invest or not is something entirely different. And that's why we want you to subscribe and to find out what are we actually buying? What's more than just a story, or because also I might like something and it may be a year away, or 2 years away. And it's like, well, we'll put our feet into it, but we're not really getting too pushed about it. Mm-hmm. Now, one of them too, that I don't want to forget, because it's just being, I won't say distraught. I don't want to be too melodramatic, but I'm just going to say, we went in on this one and put a fair amount of money, and I got excited about it. But Vanadium Corp, oh my God, we're not even going to show the graph because it didn't even trade. Or we are going to show the graph. Yeah, show the graph.
Put the graph up.
Because this graph doesn't even make sense, because if you pull it back up, it's not even that you get to see the disaster that it's been. It's been that it ceased traded for basically a year. Like, it was just, I mean, I can get into the massive detail of it, but this one has been not only a disappointment, not because of news. But because of let me just put it this way, I guess because of some of management's handling of business, that it isn't even that any of the goals that they had didn't work or didn't pan out. We don't know. And not only do we not know, we have no idea because the stock started trading again and there was no announcement as to like no one came out and said, this is what we're doing for the year. We're in a position of strength. We can't, maybe if we don't have news, we're at least going to kind of reassure you in some way. So there was a sell-off on the sell-off. And I'll tell you, we haven't sold any. We're sitting in this because my model, as painful as it is you sell on news. Like you have to sell on something. So this one, I mean, it'll be great to talk about in detail because it forces you into a model, which I'm in, where I'm not allowed to sell. And believe me, I want to run.
Yeah.
And I hear from people, and it's been the bane of my existence. People just getting mad at me, like it's not only Andrew that I can't even get out of it. Like if it's bad news and you make a loss, you go, okay, move on to the next one. You couldn't even do that, and that drove people nuts. And then not knowing, was it next month? Is it next month? Is it next month? And we don't know what that story is either. So this one is so frustrating because there's no data, there's no information, there's no voice saying anything. Now I've heard they're working on all sorts of things. I've heard this and that. I reached out to them. There was no comment, nothing back. They didn't want to talk. Someone that has some sort of association with the company said that they're sorry, Andrew, but they're really working hard on something big. Once again, it doesn't matter. That means nothing to me, except my model says I have to wait and hold and see what they come out with in the next little while. So this one I wanted to leave last, not because we're avoiding it, but because it just shows what can happen. I was really pumped, and believe me, Vanadium has done fairly well. Some of the companies we talked about have done very well in the year. The redox battery story is very early, but there's companies that are making redox batteries right now, and they're going to have a use. China's got the largest one on the planet, but we can do a whole show on that one alone. We won't, but it just shows where these things can go, and they're out of your control. And especially if it goes towards a securities board and the market, like the actual exchange, it's out of your hands. There's nothing you can do. And all of the calling to the CFO or CEO or this or that, there's nothing they can do. If they've given all the paperwork to them, if they decide they're going to make you wait and punish you for mistakes or not filing in time or this or that, then they're going to do that. And that's going to be hard to get, support from the troops, from the investors when they can't do anything. So, it's painful, and I'm trying not to be too hard. I'm trying to be fair. I'm certainly not being promotional about it, but we're going to hold on. And I kind of look at it this way. It's like, they're either going to be some news and it's going to be amazing, and maybe there's a recovery, or there's going to be some news and it's just, people will just go, all right, you know what? It's time to move on. But I can't do anything. My hands are tied until they say something, until we know something. And I don't know when that is. So I love to be on here and cheerlead about all the ones we love and how amazing. And I'm really looking forward to NG Energy. I'm really looking forward to Desert Mountain Energy. And even if people don't agree with me, I don't care because I like it. This one, though, someone would call me up and just say, Andrew, what's happening with Vanadium Corp? And it would just be like they basically sucker punched me. It'd be like, oh, God.
I don't even want to talk.
I don't even know what to tell you. I can't tell you anything. And that's the worst whenever you say, I don't even know. I have no idea. I don't even want to play it could be this, it could be that. And that's so hard for someone like me in that position of, well, you should know something. And it's like, I know nothing. And that's so bad. And it's not even, I know nothing. Maybe we should all just get out of it. Is that we can't even get out of it. So what a year. So, I mean, lots of wins, lots of great stuff. We had a great year. It was wonderful. We grew our channel really well. And
immensely,
we're psyched about the year ahead. But it just shows that even with so many wins and so many great ones, you can't always be right. And these painful ones, they're also going to teach you some very strong, some very hardy lessons.
That's the way it goes. But it highlights that you can do all your homework and research and put all this time into it. And sometimes there are things that are just out of your hands, out of your control, and you're just strapped in and along for the ride.
Yes. Yeah. It's so true. So, and that, that's a good, it's a good remembrance of the mindset part. I mean, we talked about, the plan, or hinted at it a bunch. The model is there. I got to follow it. I got to have faith in that model, but also that mindset of just being like, listen, just, stay strong, stay the course, because who knows? Let's play Fantasyland. You look at Goliath, their results might come back. It could be amazing. And you're like, thank God I sat and waited. Who knows? Vanadium Corp could be sitting on a ton of news that they've been working on for the last year. You never know. Well, I certainly don't. They're not saying They are not saying anything. So you just don't know. Just like when you get hit sideways, that it's negative, and you're sitting on your hands and feeling awful about it. It can also go the other way, where they're sitting on information, they can't release it because of a cease trade order, and there could be good news. I don't know, but in any event, that's the fun. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't like that stress, don't be in the markets.
This isn't for you.
This is not for you, because that's the part that is so exciting, is that there's something at stake here. And not only is there some money at stake, but certainly for me is that there's been a lot of time and effort, and a lot of conversations and a lot of research, and you go out on a limb, especially with these ones that are high flyers. Like, we're not just going, let's talk about Tesla. I mean, anyone could go on all day and get 10 million views talking about big name stocks and get, a 15% return. I could easily go start a channel, go look at all the BlackRock top equity picks. And my life would be easy.
We'll take that one. We'll take that one.
Yeah. I mean, and that's not really research. I wouldn't know anything about them, but that's actually a strategy people would do. It's a lot different whenever you feel like you've put a bit of effort in and a bit of smarts. You're thinking, ooh, vanadium. Who talks about vanadium? I'm going to go out on a limb on this one. And then you get shut down. So ego's a bit bruised, but that's okay. There's plenty of it to bruise. And but anyways, we wanted to give a quick snap of 2021. It was a crazy year for most people, and it was crazy, but mostly crazy good for us. I mean, it's been great. I mean, we've had more winners than losers. It's certainly very optimistic. Before we say QU. So yes, QU, that one also, I don't have the chart, but we'll be down on that one for sure. Although business-wise, it's done outstanding. It's done incredible. Like the business itself. We're hoping to get Kurt. I've sent him an email back on the show. I'm a big fan of QU. I'm holding it. But I don't have the chart. I'm going to guess we're probably down 20% on that thing. It's down at 24.
It's down at 21 cents.
Yes.
Now, if you had gotten in QU earlier than we did,
yes,
it actually still had a very good year in the escape of things. But we didn't get in until that dip there in March that you can see. That first kind of dip is when we got in. So we're down, roughly 20% from where we got in at.
Yeah.
But yeah, the plan and the model is still in place for them. They just really need to start showcasing high-end revenue and a strategy for dealing with the share float going forward are going to be the two main things that people are going to respond to.
Yeah, they need to see that cut back. And they've had massive percent increase in revenue, but just more like consistently the revenue grow, which I'm confident. I mean, I'm confident, Kurt. I'm confident in the team. But like you said, it's that share structure. We'll see. They hinted at last year that they know that's an issue. So whether it means it's going to be dealt with, I don't know. Also, I hinted at a NASDAQ listing, even maybe. Yeah. Who knows? But we'll hopefully get Kurt back on. I'm trying to get a call with him. But that's, there's a lot of good news there that's not reflected in the stock price. Let's put it that way. But I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. And I do like the stock. So we haven't sold any of it. Is that it's when you see that many shares out and the revenue doesn't match up, it's like, ooh, how much revenue do they need with, what's their market cap?
80 million. Just, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of shares out, and they'll have to address that, I would think. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we'll have Kurt back on soon, and he's going to give the roadmap to 2022. Thank you to Jesse for Jess Shep for mentioning that, because QU, we're big fans. We think long term QU has great, and it's tough for people too when they say, "Well, what do you mean long term?" Most people's long term is like 2 months.
Yeah,
and I look at,
true.
I mean, long term is years. Like, I mean, maybe I'm older, and then long term was supposed to be 5 years plus. So we look for businesses. Has the stock done that great lately? No, but I think it has the potential this year. If there's some restructuring, if there's this and that, their model is sound. It's working. And you have to remember, they got pounded on because the model wasn't working and they had to shift. And when they focused on India and they did that, they were busy and they started doing things and they got advertisers very quickly. It responded. Their scores are high on their kind of version of Nielsen ratings. I think you know the
GRP, yeah.
GRP, yeah. So I'm very optimistic with the company, but we'll have Kurt, either news from Kurt or have him on the show as soon as possible, Jess.
Yeah, and actually, I'll just mention it as well, Jesse. I know I've got an email from you from yesterday afternoon. You'll hear back from me in a little bit here today. Just been swamped with a bunch of things, but I'll get back to you shortly, man.
Excellent. All right, we've been talking for 30 minutes, and I didn't even think it would be that long, but it was our first real meaty kind of conversation with everyone. And also, I wanted to spit as many of those those stocks out at the first 5 minutes so people could see it, and then choose to keep on listening to us. But anyways, it's been a great year. We're looking forward to 2022, everyone, and we appreciate your support. This year is going to be outstanding. We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're super excited, gearing up for a great year. New sectors coming in as well. Lots of exciting new projects out there. So really can't thank you guys enough for the support, and we're going to keep rolling ahead through the year. We hope you guys are joining us for that.
Yeah, good stuff, everyone. Thanks, Austin. Take it easy. Have a great weekend.
Take care, everyone.